34 now, and I can still remember them. So they haven't gone away. Even though I know, they were made up, they weren't real. At the time, they were real. I really thought they were there. I could sort of sit in the room with them and visualise them, and I could see them and everything. Boys would call me things like spastic, which I didn't even know what a spastic was at the time, matchstick legs, handicapped girl, just horrible names. I was the first person in this area to go into plastic, because I live in such a small community anyway. People wanted to see what was going on, and my friends used to come along and they would try and copy me going up and down the stairs with my plasters on. And everybody was coming to the house bringing sort of gifts and chocolates because they thought, it would help me. And then after a while, they didn't want to bother anymore because I couldn't go out and play and I couldn't do what they were doing. So in the beginning, I thought it was great. I had all these friends, and then after a while, they just sort of disappeared one by one, really. As far as I know, they came from the plains of America somewhere. My favourite cowboy was called Joe, for obvious reasons, with me being Joe, and that was the main character, and Joe was me, but a grown-up me. They were all boys. And there was no sort of girl cowboys, but obviously I was the only girl cowboy. Remember, I used to go to my nan's every Saturday night, and one of the things we used to do was watch Blind Date on the television. My nan used to think it was quite funny at the time because they were actually watching Blind Date with me. But to me it was normal, even though they were from a different part of the world to me. It was normal that they could make that transition from their life to my life without any sort of question about it, really.
It was coming up to Christmas, and my mum asked me what I wanted for my Christmas present. I had a Cindy doll, and I really wanted some Cindy shoes. And I asked them for it, and I can remember my dad being like, "You don't want that, do you?" And I was like, "No, that's what I want, yeah." And I can remember going upstairs, and in my bedroom there was a chest of drawers, and I opened the drawer, and Agnes was in there. I knew he was in there, so I'd opened it to talk to him, and sort of ask him about what he thought about it. Agnes said to me, "Oh, why might you not get them?" And I said to him, because they're girls' toys and I'm not a girl. Agnes was, he was like a small furry ball, and he used to sit in the palm of my hand. He was yellow with black spots, and he didn't have any limbs, no arms or legs or anything. Just like eyes, a nose and a mouth, and he was quite sort of cute looking. He was otherworldly, and there was a sense that there were other ones of these Zogos elsewhere, but I couldn't tell you exactly where. Outer space, I guess, like somewhere far away. He didn't really talk much about wanting to get back to his own kind, but I think there was a sense of that, because I suppose with anybody, if you're the only one around, then that would be quite lonely.
There were two of them. One called Hum, one called Ron. They looked like I did when I was that age. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Their world is exactly the same but smaller. So if I am bigger, I would seem like a giant and it would be disproportional. So I never actually went to their world. Although, yes, it kind of upset me. I knew why I couldn't, and that was okay. My mum checked with all of her friends and she saw that none of her friends' children had imaginary friends, so she thought it might be a sign that I was slightly mad or whatever. My friends, I never told them about Hum and Rom because it would have just seemed ridiculous at the time, so stupid that I would have friends that you can't see.
Jill was my girlfriend, I guess from the ages of about 4 till about 8. She was really tall, and I remember I really, really liked her. I guess I kind of looked up to her a little bit. I kind of idolised her a little bit. I can remember that's the closest that Agnes and I got to a disagreement, because I was talking about her and he'd said something that was kind of like disparaging of the relationship I had with her. Like, he'd said to me, "But she's not really your girlfriend," or something like that. And I remember being really upset and really challenged by him and saying, "Well, what do you mean she's not really my girlfriend?" And he'd said to me, "Well, you can't have a girlfriend like other guys can have girlfriends." And I sort of said, "Well, why?" And he said, "Because you're different."
I was in their world quite a lot at the time because it was a better world, you know. It was nobody there to, you know, bully me or pick on me, you know. It was just sort of, I felt safer in their world. I can sort of visualise like mountains, sort of obviously not as big as a Grand Canyon, but that kind of like Rocky Mountain kind of feel. There was towns there every so often, but like I said, there was to me it was bad people in the town, so we didn't really sort of go through that kind of area. It was more out in the open. My cowboys didn't sort of carry any kind of guns at all, and I was always afraid going through the town that these bad guys were you know, out to get me. So I didn't like to venture into towns very long, and I would never venture there alone. I was always going with my cowboys because I knew that these people, they wanted, you know, they might have hurt me in some way, and I was quite scared of it.
I would float upwards at first, upwards and forwards, and then I would just go straight forwards, with hum and rum, of course. I would feel the air rushing past my face and then see, underneath me, the land, like being in a plane and looking out of a window. I would always leave the light on so I knew where to go home. I would definitely want to fly again if I could, if given the chance. But I don't think it will happen. My imagination's been locked up and I would know that I hadn't really flown.
The actual coming up plaster to actually come to school bit was quite difficult, you know, from having 18 months, 2 years not being in school. So they've supported me. I think while I was in plaster and while I was making that sort of transition into learning to walk and going back to school, I needed them in my life as they were very important to me. As I started sort of coming out of primary school, going sort of towards comprehensive, it's like I no longer needed them.
I think towards the end I started to feel like maybe people were right, maybe I was making it up, or maybe it was just me being silly or whatever. So there was an element of embarrassment that came into it, because it went from me humouring me, to actually feeling like I was being humoured about something really silly. So yeah, so I guess it kind of went a bit sour in that respect, and the way Agnes ended when he got shot by terrorists, I didn't feel emotional about it. I didn't feel upset about it. It would gone from something that was so perfect. My relationship with him was so perfect, and he was everything I wanted, you know, in a friend or whatever, to something that had gone slightly stale because I started to doubt it. I think I took a comfort in the idea that Agnes was gone, and just like with an ex-boyfriend, you know, they know everything about you, they know all your deep dark secrets, and they could tell anyone, so you just kind of want them to not exist anymore.
I asked Tom and Rom to move house at the same time, but their mum and dad, they didn't want to move, so it was just us, and we were moving house basically, as my mum said, going to go and move in with Kieran, who's my stepdad, who my mum had just met, and we're moving in with him and into his house. I knew that I wouldn't see them as often. I never occurred to me I would never see them again.
I would like to think that they'd gone on to help somebody perhaps like myself, or somebody that needed them more than I did at the time.
For me, he was a huge help, and I never really appreciated it. In fact, I thanked him by killing him off.
I know that although they're not real, they're real inside me. And so even if they're not there, I still know that their souls and their ideals still live on inside me. And so they don't exist, but everything that they could tell me is actually already I know.